Hello and welcome to TD's Pokemon Lair. I'm TD and this is the Lair. And today we're unboxing another box of 10 Pokemon cards I sent to PSA over a year ago, and I just got them back about a couple months ago, but I've been unboxing for a little bit. So let's get these out of the box and from their safe and sound packaging and see what grades we got. Alright, let's go. This card is a 2000 Pokemon game base to Fearow, the number 41 card of the set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see it's really clean. I don't see any problems with the graphics or the surface of the card. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think it's within tolerance, but from left to right, I think it's slightly towards the left. Our corners and our edges, though, are really nice and clean. Flipping the card over to the back, you can see that our centering from top to bottom and left to right, I think actually looks pretty good. Our edges and our corners, I think there's a slight speck of damage on the upper left corner. Our surface and our graphics look really nice and clean with no damage. That's going to give us a grade of 9. I bet you that centering was off on the front, and that's what changed that. Wow. Let's look at this 2000 Pokemon game base to Growlithe, a number 42 card. Look at the front of this card. Our centering from top to bottom looks pretty good from left to right. I think it's slightly towards the left. Our edges and our corners look really clean with no damage. And our graphics and our surface, also I don't see any damage or dirt. As we look to the back of the card, our centering looks pretty good from top to bottom and left to right. It might be slightly towards the right. Looking at our surface, it looks really clean. I don't see any issues there. Looking at our edges and our corners, I think they're pretty clean. I might have some slight damage on the lower right, but it's really hard to see. We'll receive a grade of 9. Got to be centering issue, and the rest of it looked pretty good. Here is a 2000 Pokemon game base to Haunter, the number 43 card of the set. Looking at our surface of the card, it looks really clean. I don't see any problems with the graphics. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think it's pretty close from left to right, though I think it's slightly towards the left. Our corners and our edges show no damage and are really clean. As we look to the back, you can see that our centering from top to bottom looks pretty good from left to right. It is, again, towards the left. And looking at our surface, it looks really clean. I don't see any issues there. Our edges and our corners, though, there's a slight speck of damage on the upper left and a little speck on the lower right. And that's going to give us a grade of 9. Old Haunter got us a 9. You're looking at a 2000 Pokemon game base to Ivysaur, the number 44 card of the set. Looking at this surface of this card, you can see it's really clean. I don't see any dirt or damage or creases. Our centering from left to right is quite a bit towards the left, and from top to bottom, I think it's within tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, I don't see any damage on those at all. As you look at the back of this card, you can see that our centering problems continue from the front to the back, but on our centering from the side to side is towards the right, and from top to bottom, I think it's within spec. Looking at the surface of the card, it looks really clean. I don't see any problems with the graphics. And looking at our corners and our edges, there's some damage on the upper right corner and the lower right corner. And that'll give us a grade of near 8. That's not too shabby. Let us look at this 2000 Pokemon game base to Jynx, the number 45 card of the set. The front of this card looks really clean. I don't see any problems with the surface or graphics. Our centering from top to bottom, I think it's within tolerance. From left to right, it's slightly towards the right, possibly within tolerance. And our corners and our edges are really clean with no damage. As we look to the back of the card, our surface and graphics look really nice. I don't see any issues there. Our centering from top to bottom and left to right, I think all of those are probably within spec or really close. As we get to our edges and our corners, the lower left and both right corners have some slight damage. That's going to give us a grade of 9. That's pretty darn good. Here we have a 2000 Pokemon game base to Kadabra, the number 46 card of the set. Looking at our centering on the front of this card from top to bottom, it looks within spec from left to right. I think it's slightly towards the left. Looking at our corners and our edges, they look really clean. I don't see any issues there. and the whole front surface of the card is really nice and clean. Flipping the card over, our surface and graphics look really nice. I don't see any issues on them. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think it's close to tolerance, possibly a little bit towards the top. From left to right though, it's quite a bit towards the right. And looking at our corners and our edges, there might be some slight damage on that upper right corner. Now to give this a grade of mid-9. I like it. I like it a lot. Check out this 2000 Pokemon Game Base 2 Kakuna, the number 47 card of the set. Looking at the front of this card, our centering looks really good from side to side and top to bottom. Our surface looks really clean. I don't see any dirt or damage. Looking at our corners and our edges, our corners look really good and our edges look pretty good, except there looks like there's on the upper right edge on the top there towards the right corner, there might be some slight blemish or something right there. Flipping it over, our surface looks really clean. I don't see any dirt or damage. Looking at our centering, the centering is from left to right is towards the left, and from top to bottom I think it's really close to tolerance. Once we get our corners and our corners look really pretty good. Our edges, all except there is actually a ding or a thing you can see on that upper left top edge. That's going to give us a grade of near mid-7. Wow, that's better than I thought I was going to get. We are looking at a 2000 Pokemon Game Base 2 Lickitung, the number 48 card. Looking at the surface of this card, you can see it's really clean. I don't see any problems on the graphics or the surface of the card. Our centering from left to right is towards the left, and top to bottom it's slightly towards the top. Our corners and our edges though are really nice and clean. Flipping the card over, you can look at the back of it and see that the centering from left to right is quite a bit towards the right, and from top to bottom it's towards the top. Looking at the surface, it looks really clean. I don't see any problems with the graphics. Our edges and our corners look really good, except there is some slight damage down that right edge. And we'll receive a grade of mid-9. Better than I thought. Here is a 2000 Pokemon Game Base 2 Machoke, the number 49 card of the set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see the surface is really clean. There's nothing wrong with the graphics or the surface of this card. I'm looking at the centering from top to bottom and left to right. I think that's all within tolerance, and I don't see any damage or problems with our corners or edges. As we gander at the back of the card, you can see our surface is really clean. The graphics are nice and bright. Our centering from left to right is towards the right. From top to bottom, it is slightly towards the top. And as we finally look at our corners and our edges, the only thing I can see is there's some very slight damage on the upper right corner. And that's going to give us a grade of mid-9. I like those 9s. Check out this 2000 Pokemon Game Base 2 Magikarp at the number 50 of the set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see that there's no problems on the centering. I think it's within tolerance from top to bottom and left to right. Our graphics are nice and crisp and clean. There's no bends or breaks or creases in the card. Our edges and our corners are also very clean. As we turn the card over and look to the back, you can see that our centering still looks really good from top to bottom and left to right. Looking at our graphics and our surface of the card, they're really clean with no problems that I can find. And looking at our corners and our edges, there is some damage down that right side. With all that, that's going to give us a grade of mid-9. Old Magikarp gave us a 9. Nice. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and like. And remember, always remember, don't forget, you got to catch them all. Have a great day.